Uh, gave about to 7:10, so I think we just have to start the webinar. Once again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the August webinar, our free webinar from the Institute for Information Management, the Premier Institute for Information Record Management. We hope everyone can hear me and ensure that we mute our mics. Some housekeeping rules. Please mute your mics. We don't have for questions, we're going to be using the comment sections to send our questions. So once the speaker is done, we will take any question that we have for the speaker. And just to reiterate today, we have a very fantastic topic. The topic is AI-generated content, data security implications. And today's webinar will be anchored by no other person than Mr. Ayo Balogun, who is also a fellow of this information management. So I would like Mr. Ayo Balogun to take over, but please just give us a brief introduction before you commence your session. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we will take questions after the speaker's presentation, and we will have some brief introduction from certain persons. Then we'll have a group photograph. I'm going to ask everyone to turn on their cameras. Then we'll take a picture for the purpose of the attendance for this webinar. We'll be communicating CPDs for those that are members of the Institute. For those that are not members, a token will be charged for you to get your CPD certificate. Also, you might have to contact the Institute via training@iam.africa.org or certification@iam-africa.org. Then we can reach out to you for your CPDs and the rest. So thank you so much. Not to waste most of our time, we are here by introducing our speaker for today, Mr. Ayo Tunde. Now, please, over to you, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Alexander Michael. I'm going to need someone to project the presentation. I don't know if you are the one doing that, or is it going to be someone else?
You're also a host. You're a co-host. If you have anything to share, yes.
Okay. We had is Mr. Jide online, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Do you mind projecting? Thank you. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. As previously mentioned, my name is Ayotunde Tayo Balogun. I've been a member of I've been a fellow of the IIM, I think since 2017, 2018. And this is my, I think, second or third presentation. So our webinar today is basically on AI-generated content and data security implications. So in discussing this, we'll be delving into the risk posed by AI-generated content. We'll explore methods for verifying and authenticating these contents. We'll discuss legal considerations and outline suggested best practices for organizations. And when I talk about organizations, I'm talking about us as technology and cybersecurity practitioners who serve as custodians of the security ethos and what we need to do to protect against these emerging threats. So breaking down, next slide, please. Breaking down, we have the agenda basically is we introduce the topic, we'll talk about the key points, and then we'll have a question and answer session. And as previously mentioned, if anybody has any questions, you can put them in the comment section, then the questions will be collated and treated at the end of the presentation. So thank you. Next slide, please. So now I imagine, depending on what kind of people we have in attendance, I imagine we all in one way or another have come across AI generated content. Many of us know AI generated content as AI generated content. Some others may not. But basically, AI generated content referred to text, images, videos, and any other media created using artificial intelligence technologies. And as many of us know, when we talk about that, we're referring to deep fakes. We're referring to videos that are manipulated, where you have, I don't know, many of us who are familiar with social media will at some point or the other see, would have seen different images at the time that the current Nigerian president, at the time the election was in full swing, different videos were moving around about how the current president is incapable because he's sick, because he couldn't stand up or walk straight, to see altered videos and stuff. That's a part of it. In the US currently, the election process is sitting up, and we've had several videos of the current president making rounds, talking about how he's unable to stand up straight, he can't do anything by himself, etc. I mean, these are all products of deep fakes, altered videos, and all that. So when we talk about AI generated content, these are like a good example of that. We also have AI generated content that's used for some other objectives that are non-malicious. But because of the kind of society we have and the kind of social media platforms we're exposed to, and because that's kind of like the easier way to broadcast a lot of the things that we have, those are the kind of examples that we're more familiar with. So having mentioned that, the primary technologies behind, when we talk about AI generated content, the primary technology behind the AI generated content is what's referred to as the generative adversarial network. And these are a class of, I mean, I'll just do a brief intro. They're a class of machine learning models introduced about 10 years ago. They didn't used to be popular until recently, but they were introduced about 10 years ago. And they're primarily used for generating data that resemble a given data set. So I'm trying not to get very technical, but what it means is that we can give instructions and ask for output to be generated that resemble a specific predefined outcome. And these generative adversarial networks, but there are two components, right? One component is the generator, and the second component is the discriminator. I'm trying to do a shallow deep dive so that subsequent discussions will make sense to us. Now, so the generator is a collection of neural networks that generate data that mimic a real data set. For instance, I want to generate a data set that gives an outcome of a human face, or a video that it's a human face talking. All right. This neural network is responsible for generating new data sets that is responsible for bringing out that output. Now, when the generator is done generating, it now matches with the discriminator. If the output is matched with discriminator, kind of like we have two people. One person is responsible for doing the work, and the other person is responsible for checking the quality of the output. So when the generator is done generating, the discriminator comes and be like, okay, look, this is generated already, but it doesn't look like it won't pass the security test, kind of like quality assurance. It won't pass the security test. The face doesn't look like a man, or the mouth doesn't look as it should, and then it sends it back. So the generator generates, the discriminator discriminates, and they continue to do it until they have perfect data that will pass the regular, at least pass the human eye test. So now, for our benefit and to not go too deeply into technology jargon, I'm going to be focusing more on the things that we're familiar with. So those videos that you see coming out, someone generating a video of their MD, or the video of a board member, etc. This is a process that the generative adversarial network goes through before it's able to produce an output. That's why the outputs you see are so like almost perfect. And that's why it's easy for these outputs to fool people. So and there's a process for training, there's a deeper process for this, but ultimately the goal of the generator is to continue to generate content, and the discriminator continues to accurately distinguish between the content that has been generated and the perfect real life situation. So it's an iteration. It keeps happening until they get to a perfect, or a pseudo perfect solution. Now we're familiar with GPT, but GPT is not the only generative AI model type. We have GPT, which GPT stands for generative pre-trained transformer. We have, and this is more text-based, but it could also do other things. You can tell ChatGPT to help generate image. Okay, I haven't tried generating videos, but there are other models, other generative AI models that are specific to video. So those ones are referred to as like vision transformer. That's VIT. Instead of GPT, you have VIT. That's vision transformer. Then we have the bidirectional representations from transformers, BERT. So not our Lagos BRT, but BERT. So this basically focuses on text and other things as well. But mainly GPT-3 is the generative model, vision transformer, that's VIT, is also a generative model, but it's focused more on images and videos. So I hope that that gives sufficient deep dive information. Can we go to the next slide, please? So some of the risks, because of how generative AI works, some of the risks we have is around data security and data trust. Can we have people mute themselves, please? Can we have everybody muted, please? Okay, yeah, I got muted too. Thank you. So we have risks around misinformation, and I mean ultimately leading to loss and undermining security. You know, I don't know if many of you joined earlier, but some of the discussion we're having, someone talked about how someone used a fake AI generated video to commit fraud. Yes, it happened. Someone came up with a video of a board member, and then that convinced I think a director of finance to make a transfer, and then yes, that happened, and the money wasn't recovered. So some of the things that people are able to do with this, we have in addition to maybe just deep fake to misinform people, we have generative AI now being able to concoct like convincing spear phishing attacks. They will generate the email, everything will be perfect, and everything is mimicked because it's embedded into a system that is expected to generate a lot of data with very high fidelity. So that additionally, a lot of the synthetic data that can be that are generated can be used to create fake identities. You can have driver's licenses. You can have passports and so forth generated with the help of AI, and it would do like a perfect job. All it needs to do is to have sample data to feed from, and people are currently able to do that. So please go to the next slide. Oh, okay. So okay, well, next slide. Now, how do we as custodians of data and cybersecurity professionals keep ourselves and other businesses relying on us safe? You know, one of the many things we need to be able to do is to verify content and also authenticate content. In what ways can we verify? Can we currently verify content? There are two ways. There's a technical way to do this, and there's a non-technical way to do this. Now, from a non-technical perspective, one of the many things we can do is to ensure that we don't swallow everything we see as truth, or accept everything we see as fact. When you see a video or someone's going around with some kind of news, the first thing to do is to verify before you trust. If there's no basis for verification, don't be one of the people who will be resharing it and be resharing it in a way that shows that you endorse whatever is being shared. So from a human perspective, we need to focus on due diligence, ensure that anything that comes out before we join the bandwagon of people promulgating it, we'll verify that it is the right thing, that the information we're passing across is correct. As people who are also gatekeepers, we need to exercise paranoia. You know, don't trust anything unless we can verify that it's true. So from that's like the only thing we can do as humans from that perspective. Now, from a technical perspective, there are several things that we can do. You know, there are advanced algorithms that can help analyze media for signs of manipulations. If you take a video image and you delve into the analysis of how everything is, or you take if you take a video file and you analyze it, you can see if there are things you can look out for. And if you take like an image file as well, you can look out for a lot of things. You can see signs of manipulations and inconsistencies and things like that. From a human perspective, you can if you see a deepfake video, for instance, most of the time you notice that the movement around the mouth is not natural. The movement around the mouth is usually not as natural not as natural as when a natural person is speaking. Also, the tone of voice, depending on who's speaking, the tone of voice is going to be a telltale sign. It's going to be different from how that person speaks. Maybe the way they enunciate like specific words and stuff. Most of the different videos that I've seen have not been able to capture that. So that falls under the non-technical solution for looking. On the technical part, on the technical side, there's usually there's watermarking. There's also like technical properties of files that can be analyzed to detect whether they're AI generated and fake or not. But not everybody has access to that. So mostly what a lot of people are going to have to focus on is the human part and the paranoia part. Now, there is one of the ways that we can strengthen the physical way to verify and authenticate content is through digital signatures. And digital signatures are generated in such a way that when a particular content is generated, the person who is responsible for generating it can create some digital, like a digital key. The digital key has a private and public component, and it's done in such a way that you can encrypt or sign it with your private key, and anybody who needs to verify that you're the generator of the content can verify using their public key. So if Channels TV or any other media outlet, for instance, sends out a video, that video is signed. That video can't be signed without this. This is generally not currently being done, but I'm just saying that video can be signed with their private keys, and the public consuming it can verify that this video was sent out by Channels TV, and then it can be used to authenticate. If anybody produces a different video and they try to pass it off as a video that was signed by Channels TV, this will be detected because the private key will be altered. That the Channels TV used to sign, the private key will be altered, so people can know that this video is fake. And we can go a step further by establishing a certificate authority, the way we currently have for websites. If you are visiting a website, there's a way to know that the website you are visiting is genuine and belongs to the business you're trying to visit. So we can have a third party that's kind of like a certificate authority that helps us do that. We can also do blockchain-based verification, but all these options are available. People are already watermarking their videos and images, so it's possible to use that to know the fake from the real. So these are like technical solutions that can be employed to help us detect AI generated content, especially if they are being used for malicious reasons. Please move to the next slide. So we currently have a lot of legal like regulatory frameworks that are centered around data protection. We have a NDPA, NDPA, which is the I think Nigeria Data Protection Act. Then there's the by the Nigerian government, excuse me. And there's the POPIA, that's the Protection of Personal Information Act by the South African government. There's the GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, I think for Europe and other European countries. Then there's the CCPA, which is California based. You know, all these have rules laid out on how users' data should be processed and protected by entities that are responsible for data processing. But unfortunately, these regulations and frameworks, excuse me, these regulations and frameworks were promulgated before deepfakes became prevalent. So they are not necessarily made in a way that is targeting generative AI. But if we understand this, if we understand these frameworks as much as we need to, we can implement them in a way that somewhat takes care of the security of people's data, focusing on AI generated content as well. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, so if we address them, if we implement them, so if we implement them the way we need to, they can solve some of the AI related problems we have. But fortunately for us, there, for instance, there's a proposed EU AI Act. You know, they are in the process of introducing Artificial Intelligence Act, and that the comprehensive regulation is specifically going to be targeting AI systems. So that they'll be focusing on risk-based AI systems. We're talking about maybe the way people use them, and the people who are responsible for managing the AI systems themselves, how the training data they use for AI is sanitized to ensure that people's data is not handed off to people who shouldn't have access to them. Then there's in the United States, there's the National AI Initiative Act. This also emphasized the need for the AI system to be designed in accordance with the privacy protections, including responsible data handling and security measures, and so forth. There's for Canada, I think there's the Artificial Intelligence and Data Act, that's AIDA. And that too, basically all the different countries generally just have they have like few differences, but everybody is focusing on achieving the exact same thing. So for and then yes, NIST I almost keep this. NIST has the NIST, that's a Institute of Science and Technology. No, sorry, Institute of yes, information system. Yeah. So the National Institute for Standards and Technology, they developed an AI risk management framework. So that's currently ongoing, and it's specifically targeted at AI. We also have sector specific, especially the health sector, the HIPAA for the US. Then we have finance related ones that are still being worked on. So those ones are still being worked on, but the ones with NIST, the first part has been rolled out. And then the one for the Canadian government, that's the one for the Canadian government is also in the process of being rolled out. But yes, so those are the ones when we talk about future proposed future legislations. Those are the ones that are currently being worked on. The one with NIST, the ones from the Canadian government, the other one from the US government as well. So yeah, please give me the next slide. Thank you. So now for organizations, what should we do? So organizations should basically develop comprehensive security strategies. As an organization, you do your risk assessment and have mitigation plans to if you have like if your business uses AI, what are the risks to your business? And if this happens, what do you do? So risk assessment and risk categorization as appropriate, where you need to, if there's a need to get cyber risk insurance to cover that, you need to work on taking care of that. Now, we should also consider regular employee training programs, because things change on a very regular basis. And one mistake that a lot of organizations make is we try to turn everyone into a cybersecurity professional. You know, you have an organization and everybody is taking cybersecurity training, and you're training everybody in a way that your regular cybersecurity analyst is being trained. No, your HR employee is focused on HR. They shouldn't have to be cybersecurity specialists before they can prevent cybersecurity issues. So your training programs should be implemented and laid out in such a way that it recognizes the fact that your subject matter experts in other areas are subject matter experts in those areas. They don't have to be subject matter experts in cybersecurity. You should implement controls that can take care of them without them being experts. So we focus on security training. We implement effective technical controls that, for instance, I had to implement a control for an organization where instead of forcing your employees to remember passwords, for instance, you have password managers, and your password managers are implemented in such a way that they automatically generate passwords for your users. So the only thing, in some cases, the only thing that your users need to do is just copy those passwords and paste. And they only need to remember, if they have to log into like 100 controlled environment, they only need to remember one, for instance. So that's that's an example of implementing effective technical controls. So help your people, because you're operating in a corporate environment. One of the things that your people should probably not do is use their corporate tools like corporate computers for personal projects. If that doesn't happen, if people don't have to use their personal computer for corporate projects, then you can implement effective solutions. And when that happens, it means that for content to get to your end users, they have to pass through some kind of gateway that is being controlled by your organization first. So these gateways can be tightened up in a way that can filter a lot of AI related content, so that as they get to your end users, they're already flagged, or they might even be prevented from getting to your end users. So, and for businesses that can't afford to implement like pricey cybersecurity controls, you can partner with cybersecurity firms and also leverage open source information. The United States has the CISA website that is geared towards helping small businesses. So your IT person can spend a lot of their time there. And if people who have access to LinkedIn can go to LinkedIn and get a lot of content, security content that can help as well. So, yes. So in terms of collaborative efforts, that can help us take care of that. Next slide, please. So case studies, I think we pretty much mentioned a few of the case studies, but we've had a lot of high profile deep fake political videos. During election campaigns in several countries, videos will go around. It happened in Nigeria, it happened in Belgium, it happened in the US. And what people have done, because a lot of the time when those videos go around, lucky for us, most social media platforms also have the feature to report content. You can report content, and once contents have been reported, some contents their systems don't catch until they've been reported. So when the contents have been reported, then they can now be flagged. In some cases, they have built-in AI systems to help detect these things, and then they flag them as they go out. In some cases, they also block some of them. Now, we also have like profiles being generated using AI. People generate a lot of incidents have happened. So for instance, in 2019, AI generated network of fake LinkedIn profiles were discovered, and they were used for phishing attacks. You see a legitimate, well, what appears to be legitimate profile on LinkedIn asking you to do stuff, because LinkedIn is meant to be a platform where you can verify a lot of stuff. So they are there, and then they have 500 plus followers or connections, and you see some popular people there, so that gives them credence, and then you fall for everything. So that happened around 2019, and now LinkedIn, because of that, LinkedIn has implemented a profile verification system that will help verify people, so when you're dealing with a particular user, if it has the verification badge, then it's an actual person that's verified by LinkedIn, and the profile is being monitored. If anything's altered, if you change your name or you change your picture, that verification goes off until you re-verify again. So yeah, that's and many other I have many other examples, but time is fast running out. We have there are Microsoft and Adobe, because many of us are not big businesses, and we still need to be able to verify content. Microsoft and Adobe, and I think a couple other platforms have a verification portal where you can point content to, and they'll let you know if it's AI, if it's modified or not. So they have those platforms that help third parties, end users verify content. So next slide, please. So yeah, that kind of brings us to the end of the presentation. Ultimately, just letting us know that as practitioners of data security, it is our responsibility to stand in the gap between the organizations we protect and this generative AI problem. So, and to be able to do that, we need to educate ourselves. We need to also be able to think from a business perspective, generally speaking, understanding that as we implement security is meant to be a friend to the business. We also need to because generative AI is new and it's moving very fast, we need to find a way to update our knowledge and keep ourselves up to date with everything happening as they happen. So thank you everyone. I don't know if there are questions that have been sent to the chat section, or if we don't have any questions. So if no questions have been sent, people can ask questions now, and we can try to treat it before we close out.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you so much, Ayotunde Taraboyeru, for that precise presentation and deep dive. Please, you will have to use the chat box to send your questions, please. We don't in the webinar session, all any questions or comments should be posted on the chat box, please. That's the way we take that. Please, Mr. Amos Peter, please. You will have to use the chat box for that. That's because of time. So there's no question in the comment. And it was fantastic directions around the AI part in terms of regulations that we need to consider for artificial intelligence. So, Mr. Is it Professor Amos Peter? Please, you might have to, if you have any questions or comments, please use the chat box, please. Thank you so much. Yes, we don't, we need the comments. We're using the chat box for that. Okay, Professor Amos, can you just unmute your mic? But I think the normal house rules, like we said initially, was to use the chat box, please. I can't find any comments, any questions on the chat box.
Yeah, I didn't see any questions either. I was thinking.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry for breaking your rules. I also want to appreciate the fact that you find it worth it to allow me make this comment, and maybe perhaps I was a little lucky because the guest speaker happens to be a colleague of mine at the university. I would like by saying that this lecture has been very penetrating, incisive, and analytical. And I must confess, I am proud to be a colleague of Tayo at the university because he has demonstrated just that. We're a privileged set, not too many. We are just 56 when we graduated. And I can assure you that everybody is doing quite fine. And everybody can hold up to his onions. Then permit me to just say one last thing that I think may increase the attendance in your subsequent meetings. You know, when I saw the advert on Facebook, I quickly signed up to it. And I was thinking that I was going to get an email, you know, in my box with a link that I can just click and it takes me straight to that. But unfortunately, when I checked my email, there was no mail. So I had to physically, you know, type in the URL myself. And when I typed in, it was still asking me to register and join. So I want to believe that that might be one of the reasons why maybe some other people were unable to join. But because usually when you sign up for something, you are supposed to receive just a mail and a link that you click, and then you are joined to that meeting automatically. But I
Okay, Mr. Amos, thank you so much. However, that's actually the process. So I don't know why that was not working in this regard. The process has always been once you click on the broadcast, click the link, you register it to send you a notification. If the session is let's say is about a week or 2 weeks or a month to, it will send you a mail to put in your calendar. Probably the broadcast you got was the one that is happening, that is taking place today. So they put that. So when you register, you just join the meeting it automatically. So thank you so much. But that has been the process. You may normally send to the mail with the calendar for one to lock this calendar for the session. And the day of the webinar, a broadcast will also go out, having for those that couldn't register initially, for them to have the opportunity to register. That's what happens. So that is noted, but that's actually the process we have. Okay, regarding
and I think sorry, quick response to that. I think there was a glitch because we tried it, and when I used my corporate email address, I didn't receive a link. When I used my Gmail, it lets me register. It lets me come in straight away when we're testing it. I didn't think it was a problem then, but I think that's probably what happened.
Yeah, probably for this purpose, that's what have happened this time, but that's not the normal thing that usually happens. So thanks so much. I think we'll check it, but subsequently, that's how it has always been for the webinars. We have some comment. 1 second. So there's a question that says, what are the available restrictions? Mr. Money, what do you mean? What are the available restrictions of this ill practice and actual prosecution of offenders of AI-generated crimes, especially in Nigeria? Mr.
Unfortunately, so because the laws have not been specifically made for stuff like that, but you know how it is. You can prosecute people. You can prosecute people for spreading false information. You can prosecute people for cyberbullying. You can prosecute people. You can find other ways to prosecute people using that. Using existing laws. But not many laws have been promulgated based on AI misuse yet. Unfortunately, for instance, there are sites where you can go and make video content of completely different people doing like crazy stuff. There are X-rated sites. You can take someone's image, someone's face, put it on another person's body, and then they're doing stuff that they shouldn't do. So when that happens, for instance, you can sue. Maybe you'll be able to sue someone for what do they call this thing? For malicious. There's a word for it where someone's messing with your image, so you can sue people for that. Maybe you also be able to sue people for cyberbullying according to the Nigerian new Cyberbullying Act. So, but there's no law that is so far in Nigeria. Impersonation, right? No, not impersonation. No, not impersonation per se. This is something of character. That's high end. I forgot
Defamation of character.
Thank you. Yes. So defamation. Defamation, you can sue people. You may be able to sue people for defamation if they use your image for things like that. Yes. So yeah. So you can do that, but there's no specific law. But hopefully, as everything matures, we'll be able to have much better and specific laws addressing AI misuse.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Ayo. Just to add to it, it has always been the norm that we expect laws that will deal with AI issues. AI are actually dealing with data, right? So there are several laws. Okay, if you breach somebody's privacy, his rights, the Data Protection Act will deal with that. Even though it does not specify you have to be an AI, but as long as there's a data or a breach of privacy, that law comes to power. Now, the issue of deepfake identified as part of cybersecurity issues, the Nigerian Cybercrime Prohibition Act, the latest one, has taken part of that. So there's a law like that in Nigeria because the question for Sunday was specified in Nigeria. So for AI's area in terms of thing that has to do with AI evaluation, it has to do with AI evaluation. It has to do with the actual object or the content of what is being violated. Because AI is just using a program to do random, depending what the objective of the AI is, but at the end of the day, the whole objective is using the data. So that was why the speaker was talking about data security. So the regulation that will deal with data security for AI is the Data Protection Act. Then violation of crimes in terms of using the information without the people's privilege, without the consent, the information of characters and all those stuff comes to the Cybercrime Act. But the likes of deepfakes is on the Data Protection Act. So those are the various ones that will deal with that to ensure that people don't breach people's privacy. So just to answer, to add some answers to the questions. The next question is here for Ms. Happiness. Nice to see you. Questions are coming up, Mr. Ayo, today because there are some technical guys are in the room, huh? What are the tools for detecting AI-generated content? And what other tools can AI content generators use to bypass these detections? That's tools for adding originality to AI-generated content. This is a technical question. Mr. Ayo, over to you. The person asking this question is a technical person. Mr. Ayo, over to you.
I was already talking. I didn't know that I was muted.
Oh, sorry. The tech
I was saying that this is how you know people who don't listen in class. This this person most definitely didn't listen to anything I said because I actually spent more
No,
time.
I think you joined late, I guess. Person joined
Yeah,
late.
I spent more time discussing what things we can do, even some that are not currently being done in terms of verifying authenticity of data content. Now, Microsoft has Microsoft Video Authenticator that you can use to authenticate videos. There's Face Forensics, I think Face Forensics plus plus or something. And then there is Deep. I'll type that in the comment section. There's Deep Trace, and there's Deep
Yeah,
Web
yes.
Scanner. Yes. So all that will help you verify if content is fake or genuine. So, and in terms of how to beat those things, that's it's very technical, and it's not the purpose of this webinar. But yes, it can be done, and like I said, it's an iterative process. The same way we have defenders and people who try to break down defenses. So yes, it can be done, but it's not in the scope of this webinar, and it's not something I would teach to anyone. I can't vouch for. So
Okay, I think the Miss Happiness is saying she was there, but there was no two in particular was mentioned in your presentation, sir. But it's all right.
okay,
Trying to clarify.
okay, yeah. I put the things in chat.
Okay,
Vendor
thank you so
neutral,
much.
so for not mentioning tools, I think it's ideal.
Yeah, it's okay.
IM is vendor neutral.
Yes, vendor neutral. That's. Oh, Mr. President, you are there. Thank you. You made that time to join. Okay, it's not easy, man. Thank you so much. The best practice to restrict. So Sunday again, another question. So would it be the best practice to restrict access to information and precedence or formatting of content in an organization? Okay. Style.
That's a broad question. I don't
Yes, the
understand.
technical
Would it be
control
best
question.
practice to restrict access to information and precedence or formatting or content? Now, I don't know what the question is, but I can attempt to answer what I think he's saying. So does he want to break it down, or should I just go ahead and address what I think he's saying? Hello?
I think you can proceed.
Okay. So every organization, especially if you are dealing with data, needs to have their content classified. All right. If you're working in an e-commerce business, for instance, not everybody needs access to your customers' data, your credit card data, etc. So every data that comes that is used in your business is needs to be classified, and people's in fact, the way it's done is that you classify data. You also classify your equipment when you do inventory, because the kind of computer that your finance people use is probably going to be classified, depending on what you did, maybe going to be classified as like critical, so that not everybody has access to your finance data or your finance information and so forth, just for example. So So yes, every you have to restrict access and provide access on as need basis. But when you're talking about formatting of content in an organization, I don't understand that. But to answer your question about best practice, it is always best practice to restrict access. You don't give the same level of access to everybody. Anas Dalhatu Yahuza. This person says the problem is that there are so many AI software or apps that can generate a presentation that randomly select pictures that can violate the rules. Okay, so as a person responsible for the presentation, after you use AI to generate it, you are responsible for presenting. You are responsible for everything that is contained in that presentation. So it is your responsibility to look through and see if any content you have is violating any specific regulation. And if it is, then do what needs to be done, rectify it before you go public. Otherwise, the violation is on your head.
Okay, if we have any other questions, there's a lot now. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayo. To be honest with you, this topic is a topic we'll take for the next 2 or 3 months, because there are different branches to it, different concepts. So we can create a lot of topics around it because questions will keep coming at different level and category of persons attend the webinar. So there's a statement here that says the problem is that there are so many AI software or apps that generates a presentation that randomly selects pictures that can violate the rules. How can we prevent that? This is a question for you.
Just responded to that now.
Yeah, I responded to it. At some point, I was going to ask if anybody was hearing me.
Okay. Okay. No problem. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayo. That has been a very fantastic presentation. It looks subtle, but it's top. Thanks so much. We had an AI presentation 2 months ago, and that was another brainer. So this is it coming in a different dimension. So I think, like someone said here, we have to have more of these topics. But again, if you want more topic for this, we have the training department in IIM. You can send a mail and reach out for the courses that we want. The webinar is just to give us an awareness and education about certain things. If you want more deep dive or more things, you can actually reach out to the training department, IIM. I put the address there. For IIM members, to be able to submit for your CPDs, for participating for this webinar, we will be issuing the certificate of participation to IIM members only for free. So all the IIM members here, I will check my tracker for those that join early. For those that join late, I'll need the permission of the president for us to issue them a certificate. But we will give free certificate to the members of the institute. So I think that congratulations to you guys. Because this topic is top. So Mr. Ayo, we want to create your dangers maybe in 2 months' time. We might have to have a conversation on a topic specific area to identify how we can protect data elements in an AI program that has to deal with personal identifiable information for health environment. So we'll talk about that because I see the direction of your presentation. Thank you so much for the deep dive conversations and for the input. So there's a lot of tools to check for data breaches and the rest. If you want to know more, just reach out to the Institute. We'll do more. Over here, I'll have to hand over to the President for a brief introduction. Mr. President, over to you. Thank you so much, sir, for making that time. I didn't know you were there at the beginning, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nago, for a wonderful job coordinating this month's monthly webinar. I also want to seize this opportunity to say a very big thank you to our resource persons, Mr. Balogun, for a wonderful presentation. And also thank each and every one of us for making a time to be part of this month's webinar. The IIM monthly webinar, as we know, is from the stable of the Institute of Information Management, and it is actually aimed at ensuring that professionals in the field of data, information records, content, archives, and knowledge management are abreast of technology, information, and innovation in the industry. So it's indeed a great opportunity to have you all here tonight. And like to use this opportunity to also thank the management and staff of the Institute of Information Management, members, and all those that have been contributing in one working group or committee till date. I want to say a very big thank you to each and every one of us. By the special grace of God, next month we shall also be coming up with another interesting topic for discussion. Like we all know, the Institute of Information Management is out to promote excellence in data and information management, and also to assist professionals across the globe to be able to, be more focused in their career, that is in their data and information management career. And like we all know that we're in a world that is not only being controlled by technology, but driven by data. And the need to ensure that data is properly captured, properly classified, properly indexed, properly stored, properly protected, and ensuring that only authorized personnel within an organization have access to data. The need can never be overemphasized. And whether we like it or not, data will continue to be relevant in as much as human continue to exist. So the need for us as individuals, regardless of our field or our discipline, to ensure that we are data literate cannot be overemphasized. And that is why I would like to personally use this opportunity to invite those of us that are yet to be part of this great platform to join us and build and ensure that the information is properly and adequately accorded the right position as to where it's supposed to be in the aims of affairs across the globe. We need your support, we need your participation. And for those that are already members of our great institute, I want to thank you and also congratulate you for continuing to be good ambassadors wherever you find yourself. And please don't let us keep this to ourselves. Let's share information with our friends, families, colleagues on different platforms that we belong to. By so doing, this will really go a long way in ensuring that information management is able to, belong to where it's supposed to be in the scheme of affairs globally. So on that note, without taking too much of our time, I also still want to thank the caretaker committee and the newly constituted executives at the various committee levels. I want to congratulate you, and also still want to congratulate our institute for being the national certification body for data protection in Nigeria, and several other achievements that were yet to even announce to the public that the Institute have been able to achieve. So on that note, I want to say a very big thank you and want to use this opportunity to invite chairpersons of the various committees that are here present tonight to unmute and introduce themselves. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. President, for that wonderful remarks. So please, the various chairpersons for various committee, please, could you please use in the next 30 seconds to introduce yourselves? Dr. Mrs. Princess, well, I saw you were here where we thought at the beginning. Hello, Princess, sit there. Well, I have to unmute you, right? Can you please unmute Dr. Mrs. Princess Walade, please? Well, let me unmute you. Try unmute now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I am sure I'm one of the first to get to the platform even before 7. And I want to thank the presenter as well for also being there. We were able to chat a lot before the beginning of the presentation. So I'm Princess Dr. Tiwalade Faponda, the newly conferred doctorate degree by the International University of Information Management based in Colorado, USA. It was done at Texas Houston on the 20th of July this year. And I want to thank everyone for actually rejoicing with me. I've received uncountable accolades, prayers, commendation, and I want to thank you so much. I was the immediate past vice president. I retired from the Federal Civil Service of Nigeria about 4 years ago as a director of the Civil Service of Nigeria. And since then, in fact, before then, I have been very, very active, and I know many people, even they know me and I don't know them. So I want to thank all participants, and I cannot but thank our great president in the person of Dr. Oyedokun, who has, who has started this institute. I thank you for the leadership you consistently provide to the institute. In fact, your leadership is highly insightful, inspiring, and motivating. We are very proud of you, sir. And not to forget the presenter of today, Dr. Ayotunde. The presentation was just excellent. We all learned a lot. In fact, before we started, when I chatted with you, I knew that we are going to learn a lot today, and you didn't disappoint me. So I'm very, very grateful for that presentation. And Mr. Amos, Professor Amos, Engineer Amos, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. So not to waste your time, I want to thank everybody that I want to thank Mr. Anago for moderating excellently well. You are always a great moderator. Apart from the lesson we learned for the lesson we learned from the presenter, we also learned a lot from you during your moderating process. And I want to tell you that we are also very, very proud of you. And for the technical crew, I thank you. I give you a standing ovation for all work you did behind the scene. So also, ladies and gentlemen, my co-members, fellows, and other members of this institute, I thank you for being such an amazing audience and for listening and even engaging. Thanks for being part of today's webinar success stories, because today is another success story. So in conclusion, I will say together, we made IIM Africa proud. Up IIM Africa. From
Thank you very much.
information to
value.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. God
Thank
bless.
you. Thank you so much from Dr. Mrs. Princess Tiwalade for your introduction.
Thank
Please,
you.
we have our able PR, Mrs. Monserrat. Mrs. Monserrat, I see you are trying to, we'll have to unmute her. Monserrat, hold on, let me ask you to unmute. Can you try and unmute now?
Yes.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name
Good
is
evening to
Monserrat.
you.
Thank you, ma. Good to hear your voice. My name is Monserrat Anike Jimo Ibitoye. I'm the chairperson for IMPR and Sponsorship Group. I welcome you all and I thank you all for being here. And thanks to the presenter of today's webinar. It was a powerful presentation. Thank you so much, sir. And I want to say I want to give special thanks to our president, our indefatigable president. He has been doing a very nice job. God will continue to strengthen you, and our institute will keep going from strength to strength. And Mr. Anago too, the powerful moderator in our programs. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks, everyone, and good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, we get some accolades from our South African chapter. We're having don't forget to join the South African chapter investor program and the national conference there. We have Ngwampi Lama. Please, you can unmute and say some hi to the house. It's really nice. We have for working from South Africa. Their induction program is coming up on Saturday. So I urge everyone to be there virtually. You can't afford to miss it. Those of you that didn't attend the Canada event online, you don't know what you are missing. There was a super topic in the Canada event where we have the Canadian government was there. And the archive guys was also there. It was a mind-blowing one. Who else is here? Reverend Dr. Paul Temitokba Ekundayo. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, from South Africa. Yeah, you have the floor.
Yes, good. I don't know what to say, what time it is. So good day,
Good evening,
good day,
please.
everybody. Hi, good evening. My name is Ngwanapalama Margaret More. I am in South Africa. I've been a member of IIM, a FIM member. And on Saturday, I'll be getting my honorary doctorate. So I am very happy that I joined this meeting today. I would like to thank our president for working very hard to get us to where we are today, to the supporting office people that are assisting the administrators, making sure that we meet and we have meetings regularly, and as well to the organizers of the honorary doctoral degrees that will be receiving from the International University of Information Management. I'd like to thank the presenter today and everybody that was in the meeting. I was listening to discussions even before the meeting, the presentation, and I was really taken aback. I was actually excited that the topic is going to ignite me, and indeed it did reach there. So I'd like to say thank you, everybody, and have a lovely night, and that we see each other in the next session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I promise you, most of us will be there. That's confirmed. We're always there.
Thank you.
Reverend Dr. Paul, do you have a comment or Reverend? I'm sorry. Okay, Reverend.
All right. Good evening, House.
Good evening.
My name is Reverend Dr. Paul C.E. Adebayo. I am the IIM Membership Working Group Chairman. I want to thank God for tonight's session. I want to thank God for our presenter. I want to thank God also for our ever active president, ever passionate, ever committed president. Of course, I celebrate him always for his commitment, his passion and zeal towards the promotion and advancement of IIM work generally worldwide. I also want to appreciate the presenter for the nice presentation, mind-blowing presentation for tonight. I believe that in subsequent sessions, all of us will be interested in being part of it in the learning process. I want to appeal to us all as chairman of the membership committee that we should remember to renew our membership responsibilities in the organization. I also want to appeal that we encourage some other persons to enlist into the membership of the institutes. The Lord bless you all. The Lord bless us. The Lord increase the institutes. Thank you so much. God bless you. Good night.
Thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Paul, for that. Nice for the traffic. All right, without any further ado, like I said at the beginning, for the major rules for the webinar, I'll permit you all to please turn on your cameras for group photograph. While we are doing that, please don't forget to contact the Institute for your participant certificate for your continued professional development. Also, those of us that are professional members, those of us that are senior professional members, for you to upgrade to become a fellow, and for us to keep our status as fellows, continued professional development is very key. Your certificate of attendance for webinars and conferences is very important, please. We don't want to start demoting members because they didn't attend their program. So please, if you can turn on our cameras, please, so I can take the group photograph. Thank you. I need to get this view now. All right. So we kind of have about, okay, these 2 pages. We have about 40-something persons in this webinar. So permit me to take the first page. So when I say I am information, from information, you say value, so I can capture your face, your smiles. Information. This is the information management, from information to value. Thank you. All right, take the first one. Please, I hope you have your consent to take the pictures, please. That is for the purpose of the prove attendance for this webinar. Yes. Just give me a minute, please. One second. Thank you. So I take this now. Okay, first page done. So I'll take the second page. We'll have 2 pages. I'll take the second page now. Okay. We have that.
Fellows in the house, we would like to hear your voices. Dr. Jimmy, good evening, sir.
Oh, our first alumni in international University Information Management Honorary Doctorate member, Dr. Jumi. We say have our lawn tennis to play on Saturday, game tennis. Dr. Jumi. Dr. Jumi, please. I can see you. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm done with the photograph. It was a pleasure to meet every one of us. I can promise you this topic will continue. And please don't forget to join for next month. We thank you so much, Dr. Ayotunde Tayo Balogun, for your presentation. I think we'll always keep in touch. There's a lot we can always do together with the Institute. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for the able president. Always supportive. Thank you for the committee members. Sorry, I didn't get to hear from the committee chairman for standards. I think he wasn't here, maybe for some reasons.
She's around.
Thank you so much.
I think she's online now.
Really?
Kindly unmute.
I'm for research and development, please. Good evening.
Yeah, research and development. Sorry.
Sorry for
Good
the
evening, my president. Good evening.
Good evening,
everybody. My able fellow chairman and other members, our resource person, and all other people. Thank you very much. I've been in and out, but I listened to the lecture to the end. Thank you very much. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Doc, so much. I'll
try
to reach out.
Alex. Yeah. See you soon. Yeah,
yes.
Bye.
All right. Without any further ado, I have to, with the permission of the president, we call this webinar to a close and wish every one of us a safe night.